Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all staying safe. I hope you are all keeping well. And I'm talking now Saturday night. It's been 5 days since Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, come out and said that the UK would be on a partial lockdown. And if you're asking how I've been getting on this week, I've been doing all right. I've just been chilling out. I've been walking the dogs. And I've just been doing things in the house that I probably wouldn't have been doing if I didn't have all of this spare time. So it has come at the right time. Of course, it is quite sad. People are losing their jobs and people are dying of this coronavirus, which is very, very serious. And I hope everybody is following the government's guidelines. And I hope that everybody, is taking it seriously and using common hygiene and washing your hands. Now, I'm talking Saturday night. There has been some news this week which I want to talk to you about regarding Mike Ashley. So today, I've just been watching Newcastle United 5, Manchester United 0 on YouTube via the Newcastle United YouTube channel. They're putting on a game each Saturday to fill in for lost time for the games not being on, and I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea. And I really enjoyed the game, it just really sprung back memories of back in the day. Yes, of course, I was only 3 and I wasn't there to see that result, but you have to admire, if you're a Newcastle fan, for how much of a good manager, a good team we had, with really good players who played for the badge, who put on that black and white shirt and gave their all and, put in a magnificent shift, not just in this game, but in the previous games gone by. We finished second that season, and if you give your all, the fans will always remember you, and you'll always go down in the club's history. That's why they've made YouTube. Not just for the result, just the entertainers, for how fantastic they were, and they gave their absolute all. It was a shame, of course, that we didn't win a title in that time, but at the end of the day, they were all fantastic players with a very good manager in Kevin Keegan. Of course, Mike Ashley come in to the football club and destroyed it, and we've never done anything under Mike Ashley since then, apart from a Europa League campaign. Now, talking of Mike Ashley, the news came out on Tuesday that apparently Mike Ashley had sent a tweet out to, or was it his business, to Boris Johnson and the government to ask should his Sports Direct stores be opened on Tuesday, knowing fine well that Prime Minister Boris Johnson come out with a speech. It was about 6 minutes long and said along the lines of only businesses that provide food and essential supplies should be opened. So that'd be your supermarkets, and also for your medical care, you can have one daily bit of exercise, and that's about it. But Mike Ashley thought it would be a good idea to go against that, which, I'm really angry about, because when your Prime Minister comes out and says along the lines of, you've got to abide by these rules, you've got to do it, whether you support the Prime Minister or not. In a crisis like this, it's important that everybody follows the guidelines and sticks together and keeps themselves safe from this Covid-19 disease. Of course, you're going to be helping out the NHS, but Mike Ashley thought it would be a good idea to say along the lines of, I'm going to see what Boris Johnson does, and I'm going to bring in my staff on Tuesday morning to work for my company, my business, and to try and make as much money as possible. Like I say, for me, that's bad enough, but it gets worse. So I am hearing more news articles that apparently Mike Ashley has put his items up. So that would be skipping ropes, footballs, clothes, trainers, exercise machines, etc., to try and make more money for where people are struggling. People are losing their jobs left, right and centre, and it's sad because a crisis like this has forced businesses to close. They're not making ends meet, and people are losing jobs through no fault of their own. And Mike Ashley is profiteering from that, which I think is an absolute disgrace. You should never ever do that when people are struggling. In a time like this, it's not about money. Yes, you need money for food, which the government are helping out. So fair play to them for that. Also paying 80% of the wages. But Mike Ashley, we know you're a multi-billionaire. Or a millionaire, is it? You've got money, we know that. But surely for the next few weeks to a month, you can keep your business closed and you can gain some respect. Not that I've ever respected you as a person anyway, since you've been at the football for 13 years. I've seen you for what you truly are. And, I've kept quiet all week. because for what you're doing is quite sad, really. And if people didn't dislike you enough, more people, not just of Newcastle United fans, but people worldwide have now seen you for what you really are. And you've made the news for the wrong reasons. Now, the fact that Boris Johnson, live on TV, had to say to you, you should not remain open, and I have made the rules, and if you go against them, then there will be consequences. The fact that the Prime Minister has to put you in your place tells me how much of a low-life guy you really are. And, you know, that's not the route that we want to see as Newcastle fans, because at the end of the day, yes, we know it's not aimed at Newcastle United when it involves Mike Ashley in this situation, but it kind of does, because Mike Ashley is the owner of this football club and he should know better. And he doesn't seem to be learning from his mistakes. You know, he's had mistakes in the past and he's never learned from them. And in this current situation, it's not about making money. It really isn't. People are losing their lives left, right and centre, not just in the UK, but around Europe and around the world. You know, in the UK right now, we've just hit the death rate of over 1,000. You know, there's 1,019 people in the UK that have lost their lives. Whether that be one person, 100 people, etc. People are losing their lives and it's quite tragic. It's scary. And people like yourself are wanting to put your staff at risk where they could catch this when the public are going in and buying items. You know, this disease, as I've said before, I'm no medical expert, I'm not, but it's invisible and people are most likely going to catch it. And these staff, making matters worse for yourself as a sports direct business, a lot of them, if not the majority of them, are on 0-hour contracts as well, which is quite sad given that, you know, they're working under extreme pressures. And, you know, you're trying to drain money out of people where people are struggling financially, worse off now. People can't make ends meet, which is quite sad. And, you know, I'm with anybody watching this right now. If you've lost your job, listen, stick in there. Stick in there. Your health and safety, right, is more important than your job. It really is. Your health and safety is more important than your job. Because if my work had said that, if I wasn't working on the front line and they told me to go in, right, I'd tell them to go and do one. I really would. I would go and tell them to do one. Unless I was working on the front line. If I got asked to work on the front line, I would. If someone asked me, do you fancy volunteering and working on the front line, I would. You know, I would give back because that's the sort of person I am, especially in this crisis. But when it comes to a non-essential shop like Sports Direct, it doesn't need to be open right now. I'm sure Mike Ashley, yes, you'll lose money, but you're not the only one that's losing money. Everyone else is losing money left, right and centre. Smaller businesses, bigger businesses, self-employed people. It doesn't matter who you are. Everybody is losing money. And this is a serious, serious situation. And if things don't just get worse, what's he done this week as well? People are losing jobs, which mean, you know, they're losing money. Some people have worked throughout March. They've worked a little bit, you know, over that payday, and they're not going to get paid at all. Some of them are getting a little bit of money back, but not everybody. And the fact that he's went and took, what is it, £600 or whatever it was for people's season tickets for next season, depending on how much you pay, because some of the Newcastle fans obviously pay direct debit. It might be monthly, it might be season by season, but in a crisis, you should not be taking money from fans where fans need to, you know, pay their rents. They need to try and make ends meet. That is the law of the law, in my opinion. And fans should be given a reprieve for at least the next few months to see where things go, because some people now haven't got a job. Some people haven't got a pot to piss in. And it is quite sad seeing it. That's why I would never, right, pay by card to Mike Ashley in terms of paying year by year. I would go month by month. Or I'll just pay cash in hand for the season. And then obviously there's talk of what would I do with my money. There's fans asking like what they would do about their money. For now, money isn't a big thing. It really isn't. And even if the season is null and void, right, it's not about wanting your money back for me. That money, right, that could have been used for the rest of the season, right? I would just donate that to the NHS. I really would. Like, yes, I know there's 9 games of the season to go, and I get it. And yes, I boycotted the season, and it's easy for me to say, but if I was the season ticket holder this season, right, I wouldn't care about the money. I really wouldn't. I would say, do you know what, NHS, there you go. There's your money. I hope that goes out to help. And I hope Newcastle United, can do that. If the season is to be null and void, nobody wants that. Of course they don't. But if that is the case, then it shouldn't go in Mike Ashley's back pocket. It should be out to go and support those who need it and who deserve it, like the NHS, those who are homeless, the food bank, for example. It's common sense. Little things like this is common sense, and the owner, for me, on 2 occasions this week, hasn't used common sense. One, about your shop being open when it shouldn't have been, and the second one is basically taking money where it shouldn't have been taken, especially in a crisis like this where people don't know where they're going to be. And I sympathise with any fan who's had the money taken off them. The club, for me, should reimburse that back. But then again, we're talking about Mike Ashley and those higher up. They probably don't care. And you've got to realise these are the fans, right, Mike Ashley, who stick by you through thick and thin, stick by the club through thick and thin. Not because they don't like it, but because they love the club. They've got nothing else to do, during the weekend. That is their main thing to do on the weekend, like myself, is to go and watch Newcastle United and to support the club. But like I say, just this week, Newcastle United again has been given another bad name. Not because we've done anything wrong as a football club, but because the guy higher up has not used common sense, unfortunately. Like I say, I don't want to swear or criticise him in a bad way, but for me, like, common sense is a big thing right now, especially in a current crisis like this. And there's bigger things, than your business, than, football tickets for next season. Listen, we should be in this together, as people of the UK. We need to watch out for one another, we need to speak to one another. We're quite lucky, we've got the internet, we can talk, via Snapchat, we can talk via Facebook Live, etc. People need to make use of that, and obviously you need to be closer to those who, you call, whether that be your friends, your family. And like for the next 5 days, or for the last 5 days, shall I say, I've just chilled and keeping safe and trying to keep in touch with the news. And every day that you watch it, it doesn't get any better. But like I say, common sense should prevail, but it hasn't, unfortunately. And what does this do for Mike Ashley in terms of his business going forward? Well, people will continue to shop there, of course, but has he lost some business or some custom by doing that? Most likely. So just my opinion on Mike Ashley and what's been going on this week in my life. I hope you're all keeping safe and sound. I hope you're all washing your hands and keeping safe away from this virus. And my thoughts go out to anybody who's watching, who's in trouble right now, who's suffering, with this coronavirus. I hope you do pull through it. Speedy recovery as well. And just rest in peace to anybody who has passed away from it, because at the end of the day, this is a very serious disease and it's happened through no fault of your own. No finger pointing to anybody at the moment, but just to, stay safe and sound, and just to, look after yourselves. And I'll be back with another video very, very soon. If you did find this video helpful, please don't forget to go along and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. I don't know when the next video is going to be, but put your comments down below and I'll be looking forward to seeing them, and I'll get back in touch with you very, very soon. So thank you very much for watching and understanding everything I've had to say, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.